Amber Gonzalez, Michael Mendez, and their baby Cindy have just moved into the Operation Hope shelter in Vista for homeless families. It was a winter shelter, but as of this month, it's now open year-round.
We've been together for a year, and we were using when I was pregnant, so I wanted to get clean so I could keep her and give her the life that I wasn't able to give to my other kids.
Gonzalez says she's had drug problems for 10 years, but now she's 11 months clean. She and Mendez are determined to use the time in this drug-free shelter to work, build up savings, and stay clear of methamphetamine. For them, it's vital that no one else in this safe haven is using drugs.
Yeah, that would make a big difference because it would trigger us. It would make us want to go back out and use.
Ironically, right as the emergency shelter run by Operation Hope for women and families opens year-round this month, this shelter run by Solutions for Change, where 12 families are currently staying, may have to close. Solutions for Change has run this unassuming building as a shelter for more than a decade. It's the first stop for families who then move on into a longer-term program, the 1,000-day Solutions University. Solutions CEO Chris Megason has raised millions in private funds for the university, but he says he has no choice but to close the intake shelter because it has lost $90,000 in federal money.
So not having that is catastrophic for us. We can't keep it open.
Federal funding for homeless programs embraced a policy called Housing First around 2010. One element of that policy requires providers to offer shelter immediately without setting conditions, like being drug-free. 16-year-old Mackenzie PANKEY's life changed when she entered the Solutions intake shelter with her mother Jennifer 7 years ago.
Families that do drugs with their kids in the household, usually you see same kids growing up and becoming addicts themselves. When you come to the shelter and you have a stable environment where there's nobody using, it gave me a good place to grow up in.
Jennifer PANKEY says she would not have been able to change her and her daughter's life if the Solutions program had not required everyone in it to be drug-free.
No. If I would have lived with people who were actively using, I would not have been able to stay clean. I just wouldn't have. It's so hard, you know. It's kind of like if someone has lung cancer, right? And they quit smoking and they go through remission and all these things, and then we say, okay, you know, we know you're going through this and you're in remission and you're a warrior and you survived, but now you're going to have to live in housing with everyone who smokes.
Megason says the federal condition that his program offers shelter without requiring clients to be clean is counterproductive.
We're not looking at just getting people behind a door. What we really are trying to do is get people out of what we call the churn and the dependency systems, get them off all of the government aid.
Back at Operation Hope, Director Kathleen Higgins says her funding to go year-round is mostly local and mostly private.
I've been doing this 20 years. 20 years ago, almost all of us got 80+% of our funding from government sources.
Now, Higgins says, shelters like Operation Hope know they have to do without federal funding from the Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, because of the Housing First condition.
We understand why HUD enacted the law. Their focus for the next few years is eliminating the veterans' homelessness.
Greg Angel of Interfaith Community Services in Escondido oversees an alliance of homeless agencies in North County. He says Housing First is working successfully to end veteran homelessness nationwide.
Over the last 3 or 5 years, homelessness among veterans has decreased nearly 50%. That's the result of increased resources being focused on veteran homelessness, but also the implementation of Housing First methodologies.
The Housing First approach is resulting in a major shift in how homelessness is addressed, he says.
We have an entire system of care for homelessness that is transforming.
But in the meantime, emergency shelters like Operation Hope say they'll have to rely on local and private money to run their services.
The drive to want to work has enabled me to get off parole and try to be there for my family, my daughter. You know, it's hard. It's a hard road, you know, but I'm struggling and fighting every day, stay clean, sober, and be with my family. I want to be successful in this place and get us into an apartment with both of me and Amber together, working together and doing everything we possibly can to get into our own apartment, or you know, and be able to support each other and and do it.
The key to this family's success will be to live in a drug-free environment, and these homeless providers say if that means sacrificing federal funding, it's worth it. Alison St John, KPBS News.